What does it mean to have a voice in society? Me, as an Asian woman, it's pretty difficult for me to let my voice be heard, but today will be the day that I'll finally let my voice be heard. My name is Panra Moua, and I'll be talking about the women's suffrage movement that should be served to motivate us to action. I just want to let you know that it's important to know about the suffrage stories because it's mostly women who created the movement, and also women's voice do matter. I will be giving you my perspective about the women's suffrage movement and also how far it took for women to actually get the right to vote. And so, honestly, it was something hard for a woman to achieve. Women were expected to do housewife duties while men can just go do whatever they want. And so, women think that it just wasn't fair how women had to do all these work while men can just relax and just do whatever they want. And so in 1848 was when women first held their first convention, Women's Right Convention at Seneca's Fall, and women that were part of it was Lucretia Mott, Jan Hunt, and Elizabeth Cady Stanton, and all the other suffrage activists that were part of it. And so later on, Elizabeth Cady Stanton and Susan B. Anthony met each other in 1851, and they both worked together for the suffrage movement for over 50 years. And so during those times, the suffrage activists started picketing the White House to get President Woodrow Wilson to support their proposal. And many of the women's suffrage activists did get arrested and end up in jail. And women like Alice Paul, who was part of it, did end up in jail too. And so while she was in jail, she started doing a hunger strike. And so the government knew that if they let the woman die in jail, then it'll make the government look bad. And so that's when the government decided to force feed them in jail so that the government just don't look bad for like people. And so it wasn't just one specific approach that women did to win the victory. They just didn't give up. It was like several different approaches, and several different women all came together to come up and win a victory. And so, before the leader suffragists like Susan B. Anthony and Elizabeth Cady Stanton died, Susan B. Anthony left the work for other suffragists like Carrie Chapman Catt, who was the president of the NAWSA in 1920, and also Hazel Hunkins, who is also an American women's right activist, journalist, and suffragist. And so, even though Susan B. Anthony didn't want to just leave it like that, um she didn't want to leave it like that because she has so much that she wants to say and like to do. But then she decided to leave it for Carrie Chapman Catt and Hazel Hunkins and like the new generations like us to make a change. Even though it didn't benefit all women, it should be celebrated because it was a movement created by women, and it should also be created um and we should also celebrate the 19th Amendment as a journey for women. Now that you have heard from my perspective about the women's suffrage and how far it took for the women to get the right to vote, I hope you remember that women do matter and that every woman, including yourself, should be heard. Keep empowering one another and make sure to vote because your vote counts.